20 parties say that they will boycott, whereas 17 of them are going to attend this new inauguration on the 28th of May, and the Sengol over here as well. The Arambai Tengol in Manipur and the Sengol here in the national capital. The Mamla is all goal. It's all goal right now. In terms of the boycott of the parliament, what's the latest developments? What happened overnight? What are some of the top leaders saying? I was reading somewhere that they said that, back in the day, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi also inaugurated, certain portions of the parliament, but not an entirely new parliament, an argument that the BJP is now putting forth.
Well, it is a new structure. It is probably one of those moments in our history where we are marking the beginning of something new and the expansion of our democracy. This Parliament House could host around 1,000 plus MPs. And another thing that we have to also understand is that probably it is built keeping in mind the probable expansion of the MP seats in both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in 2026, if the government is planning to go ahead with the delimitation exercises that would again give you a fair idea of why we should increase our parliamentary seats. So this is built on a vision of those factors. So what comes in 2023, 3 years later, we will come to understand as to why this parliament complex was in fact required. After being said that, the entire controversy seems to be on the fact that who is going to inaugurate. Now, is it the President of India or is it the Prime Minister himself who's going to inaugurate the building? And here, as you rightly pointed out, we had instances of former Prime Ministers, going ahead and inaugurating the annexure buildings of the Parliament, but never a full Parliament. So they have been talking, the Congress has raised about issues of like Article 60 and 111, but then the BJP has in fact said that if these complexes, which were also supposed to have been inaugurated by the President, was carried out by Prime Ministers, there's nothing wrong in Prime Minister Modi going ahead and inaugurating these complexes. So it is politics, but the fact remains, Kabir, is that, well, there is a new structure. See, we are starting off on a very discordant note. I mean, I don't know, but as an Indian, you have this thing, the omens, how does it start and all that.
The Kartavya Path, that inauguration, I hit the ground. I spoke to a lot of people right on inauguration day, and most of them, 95% of them, were really happy with the structures that were coming up. Take a look at these creatives that they've put forth. I mean, from the architecture to the swanky lawns, to the lush green, expanses of those green pastures, benches, really nice. There's a theme to the entire process. It's not they're not all over the place. Yeah, and it does look beautiful. It does look beautiful.
Nothing is jarring. They have continued with the same architectural design of Lutens, but at least giving some kind of modernity to it.
What do the people joining us on the stream think? Please get down in the comment section below. We'd love to, understand what the common man feels about the images that the government is putting out. Are you happy with the structure? I mean, after all, it's the taxpayers' money. Are you happy with the architecture? Do you think it will look beautiful? Do you think it was long due? Which, by the way, a lot of people in the administration are also saying that something like this was long due. You had roofs falling over. The MPs were in danger per se. And Verghese, you and I, we both know that everybody gets renovation done at home, be it a bathroom extension, be it the crippling chipping off wall or the ceiling in your bedroom. Renovations happen here and there. But to, suddenly come up and say, hey, look, from next year, we're going to move into this new swanky house, that doesn't happen really a lot.
But see, the thing is, the existing structure has a limitation when it comes to seating capacity. There are stories that, some of the MPs don't like to sit at seats where the pillars are there because they are not even seen, but the seats are there behind the pillars. So these things are something that had kept a lot of people worried. I mean, you are being elected to say something in the parliament and you don't want to be sitting over there when it's in full house. So those things have in fact come out very often. But then again, India's population has moved from the 300 million odd that was there during the time of independence, and now we are 1 billion racing against China as well. So we have a population reality that we have to reflect in our parliament, and therefore we require a larger parliament. Now that is said, I mean, the fact remains that we require a large parliament because
All
we
I'm
have to
saying
be-
is these pictures,
Yeah,
Verghese, I mean, I'm taken
as
aback.
they are architectural, the way it is done, probably
Looks like the
they
United
have-
Nations General Assembly. I mean, the parliament.
There is
the-
some
the
structures.
in-
Actually, even I noticed that there is some kind of a UN thing when it comes to the Lok Sabha as well as
The camera
the-
placements is also something that has been thought
Kind
about,
of,
the lighting. And, you know, I'm just going to take your focus away from here a little bit because this Sengol, you know, this scepter of Tamil Nadu law and governance, there is so much history behind it. And people are, you know, equating Prime Minister Modi's move here with Jawaharlal Nehru's move. Can you draw those comparisons? You know, help the viewers really understand. Firstly, what is that Sengol? What does it mean? What does it signify? You know, I mean, tell me as well.
Well, in fact, Hindu has put out a very interesting small article. If people want to, in fact, take a look at the Hindu's article, it says, new parliament to house scepter that symbolized transfer of power in 1947. It goes to the tradition of the Chola dynasty, the Solar, and the kings of Solar, who were people who were going to ascend the throne, were given this scepter that symbolized their authority over the whole of the people in the Solar Empire. So there was this authority that was given to you. Now, the British, this is what the historians say, and this is the article also looks into this. The British were wondering, like, how do you say that you have been transferred power?
Right.
I mean, the normal way of doing it is just to have just signed few documents. You sit on the other side of the table, I sit on the other side of the table, and then you exchange these documents with each other. So there should be something symbolic that the people of India and its tradition recognizes. So this was put forward to Nehru, and Nehru went and spoke to Rajgopalachari, and he in fact spoke about this handing over of this scepter, or the Sengol in Tamil as it is called, and Chengol in Malayalam. This scepter was something that was designed in Tamil Nadu, and you know they came up with the design, and that is the bull of Lord Shiva, Nandi, who is on top of it, who symbolized justice, because the person who the person who took on that power was supposed to be a person who is just to his subjects. So that is the kind of, you know, the royal interplay that is also there. And now when this was being handed over to a democratic nation like India, it was given to handed over to Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru then, it symbolized the transfer of power to the nascent, about to become Republic of India, or the Dominion then it was called. And this is, interestingly enough, one of those very interesting, and I think a lot of people even didn't know about the Sengol.
The BJP has listed Congress's events and has slammed opposition parties for quote-unquote hypocrisy. And the opposition parties are claiming that this is a pure sidelining of the president and a direct assault on the democracy.
Well, that's the politics that we are looking at, as to who actually represents the whole idea of democracy in the country, whether it is the Prime Minister or the President. And this never would have become an issue if, you know, both the institutions, in fact, were given the right kind of protocol way of doing these things. But then the opposition has raised this affair and saying that the president is the person who represents the republic, and the democracy is the head of both the houses, and therefore we need to have the president inaugurating the house. And of course, this entire boycott has happened because of that. But that's what I was trying to earlier get in, but that when we look at this, we are starting off with a very discordant note when it comes to this, and that's why we have statements coming in from both of them. Well, the opposition say that, you know, democracy has been sucked away and affront to democratic ethos. I mean, we can go with all that rhetoric, but this was a very important moment that is there in our history, and probably we are witness to it. But of course, we are starting with a very, very discordant note on this, and but yes, in our democracy, you do express your this thing. That is why we are a democracy. You have to express your dissent as well.
Well, I mean, certainly. But the arguments that they're putting forth, do they have any weightage at all?
Well, if you go by legalistic, this
and now that the Congress has come out, you know, K.C. Venugopal yesterday, he's come out, the AICC General Secretary. He said that he's happy that, you know, all the opposition parties are coming together. And this is something that the Congress was looking for, crucially, ahead of 2024.
They were looking at probably, and that is the politics behind it, is that there is, in this inauguration of the new parliament building, you are having the opposition also galvanizing ahead of 2024. So, but see, this is not something that we have to, in fact, think of as a place for playing politics. There are a lot of other places that we can play politics with, but not this. However, again, the issue about whether the Prime Minister or the President is supposed to inaugurate this complex remains. There is a doubt on that, but still, this was not an issue that should have been, in fact, made political.